Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
And here in Lloydminster, the RCMP held their first regimental ball since COVID, with all the proceeds going towards the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. Here is Abby St. John with more.
The regimental ball has a long history within the RCMP. It's a way to not only celebrate the history of the force, but also give back to the community in some way by raising money for organizations in Lloydminster, with this year going to the Interval Home Society.
There's a lot of tradition involved in that, and that's why we're dressed the way we are in our ceremonial uniform, which is a little bit different than what people see us in when we're wearing it. It's got the brown belt, but it's to celebrate that history, but also to raise a ton of money and have a really good evening with for the community, right? So in this case, the Interval Home Society is the one that's the recipient of the funds.
Our organization was chosen as the charity of choice for the Lloydminster RCMP Regimental Ball, and we were really honored with that choice because we work with the Lloydminster RCMP on a really regular basis through the provision of our services to prevent and respond to domestic violence.
The evening included a silent auction and dinner, but it was also a learning opportunity for people to understand the impact the Interval Home has on the community.
And we have an opportunity to make a big impact with the audience tonight to speak to what we do in the community, but also bring awareness to the issue of family violence in Lloydminster. It's a very large issue. And we're dealing with domestic violence every single day, multiple times a day. So it's an opportunity for us to not only just showcase our programs and services, but educate people around the issue of domestic violence.
Everyone's coming together. We've gone out and there's a lot of support from the community towards the Interval Home Society and for what's going on tonight, that we get to come together, we get to have fun, but at the same time recognize that we're here for the Interval Home and that we're here to raise money and that we're here to celebrate what it is that they do, which is they generously help the community in every way, from youth to the women's shelter to all the different programs that they have.
Abby St. John, Primetime Local News.
The Lloydminster Rotary Club welcomed a guest speaker today to discuss the importance of mental health and his initiative to help others around him. After facing a personal life tragedy, Paul LaBerge has taken it upon himself to walk the talk for mental health. In an attempt to raise awareness, Paul has organized a walk from Saskatoon to Lloydminster as a way to keep the conversation around mental health active.
The 6 cities I want to get across, starting in Lloyd because it's my hometown. I want to go to Vancouver, Calgary, Lloyd, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, and Toronto.
Paul has been an active voice for mental health since 2019 when he organized his first walk.
I always wanted to be that ear for someone, just to lend an ear for somebody. But the problem is that I have, a life that I have, and it can get fairly busy with doing a walk and a full-time job. You have to look after your own mental health also. So I guess what I would like to see going forward is people don't have to put the fake smile on their face and they just feel comfortable by opening up.
And now it's time for a weekly look into the archives. This is Retrospect. As we rewind back to 1994, then Alberta Premier Ralph Klein was in Lloydminster for a $100 a plate fundraising dinner.
Indeed, my critics get tired of hearing me say it, but we believe, and I'll say it again, that we have a spending problem in this province and not a revenue problem.
Federal voters may have turned their back on the Progressive Conservative Party, but PC support in northeastern Alberta is still strong. Almost 400 people paid $100 a plate to attend the first ever Premier's Dinner in the border city last night. Even though the event was a Tory fundraiser, some difficult questions were posed to the Premier.
If you keep on the restriction, which I approve, you're cutting the fat out the government, I approve 100%. But you cannot put the construction in a standstill. And that's my big concern.
Klein also took time out to criticize his competition.
As a matter of fact, you know, we don't need the NDs in this province anymore, because the Liberals are doing a far better job of being socialists than the NDs ever were. They really are.
Most of Klein's time, though, was spent defending his government's recent budget. The Premier says too much money is going towards administration and not to the classroom or hospital rooms where the money is really needed. He says his government's vision for a new Alberta involves more free enterprise, with money going to people who will know how to use it effectively.
Moving from Alberta politics of the past to Saskatchewan. The Sask Party is the dominant political force in the province, but in 1998, the party's first leadership race made a stop in Lloydminster.
Three very different men, one common goal: to lead the party that many feel is the future of Saskatchewan. Yogi Hugabert, Rod Gantifor, and Elwin Hermanson are the men aiming to become the first leader of the Saskatchewan Party. Wednesday night, the three made a stop in Lloydminster for a public forum, speaking on their platforms and addressing concerns. Yogi Hugabert was the first to declare his candidacy. The retired fighter pilot turned rancher knows that when it comes to political experience, his opponents have the edge.
The leader, if he or she has excellent people surrounding them, it makes it much easier to be a leader, and then you don't have to be as knowledgeable on each and every affair, because your good people around you advise you, and then when you get good advice, you can speak to those issues very freely and frankly.
Melfort Tisdale MLA Rod Gantifor has been the opposition critic for a wide range of capacities, including health, finance, Crown investment, and economic development. Gantifor feels the Saskatchewan Party can do for the people of Saskatchewan what the NDP has not.
We've got to start believing in ourselves. We've got to deal with the issues that people are really saying are affecting their lives. And there are things like taxation, there are things like health care, there are things like education and roads and property tax. All the kinds of things that people have been saying that are really important to them.
Elwin Hermanson is a former Midwest Reform MP. After initially choosing not to seek the leadership role, Hermanson had a change of heart.
The quality of the people, the sincerity of the people who asked me to consider running, and the support that seemed to be growing across the province changed my mind, or made up my mind that I would in fact seek the leadership if there was that kind of support, and see if we couldn't win the leadership and make a difference for Saskatchewan.
Which one of you feel that you can lead the next provincial party on a straight and true course for the everyday average working person and business person in Saskatchewan?
Those in attendance kept the candidates busy with questions, many to do with the future of Saskatchewan. One of the hottest topics, the continuing exodus of people out of the province.
I grew up in Saskatchewan. I left school 25 years ago, and it wasn't a question of where you're going to go or what you're going to do, is when are you going to leave.
The concern was addressed by all three candidates, and all felt the Saskatchewan Party would be able to solve this.
Saskatchewan is dying and being crushed under the tax load, and we're finding increasingly our people are leaving because of it, and we simply have to address that and stop it.
If you want Saskatchewan identity now, you go to Alberta, because that's where most of the people are. But no, I don't think we would ever lose Saskatchewan identity. I mean, what are we in Saskatchewan? We're a mosaic of peoples. By creating jobs and getting more people in the province, there's no way that we can change a mosaic.
I see a Saskatchewan where young people want to stay home and make a good livelihood for themselves in the province, and where others who have left would be enticed to come back because they love Saskatchewan and they'd be very happy living here if they could make a decent living.
Whether the party will be able to attract people to the land of the living skies remains to be seen. But what is clear is that the people at Wednesday's forum want change, and they want the Saskatchewan Party to bring that change.
This has been our week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Battle River Ride for Stars is back with its 14th horse ride, and Maurice Andrews spoke with the president of the organization for a preview of the event.
Today I'm super pleased to be joined here with Henry Thomas, who is the president of Battle River Ride for Stars, and he is going to be talking about this year's event coming up on July 10th. So to start things off here, can you just tell me a little bit about this event?
Well, it's our 14th annual Battle River Ride for Stars. It's a horse trail ride down in the Battle River Valley out by west of Brownfield. It's a 14-mile horse ride we've been holding, and we raise money for Stars.
It's a horse ride for a great cause, and I'm so happy that you guys are able to donate to Stars. But you said this is a reoccurring event, so what is different from this year's event than maybe past events?
Not really. Most of our events are pretty standard. We have our trail ride. The riders collect pledges. We're doing a raffle for a saddle, pellet grill, and a $250 cash prize. We also hold a day raffle, silent auction, door prizes, and we usually have a day raffle and awards.
And you just mentioned that there's going to be things like prizes and raffles and awards. So what does that all entail?
Most money raised by a group by over 20, over 18, like an adult. Most money raised by an adult. Most money raised by a youth or kids under 18. And oldest rider, furthest away rider, last rider in. And yeah, we usually get, like I say, we get quite a few people around the province, even overseas, that come over and ride this ride.
And what is your goal for this year's event? Do you have a certain amount of money that you want to raise or a certain amount of people to sign up?
I've always wanted to see a $40,000 in 1 year raised. It is a big goal. It's a very big goal to reach, but it's not impossible to do. We just hope that that's why we encourage people to come out, and when they come out, they collect pledges. So we do charge a rider's fee of $50, but if they collect pledges over $100, we will waive that rider's fee. So they get to come out, have supper, get entered into all the prizes, and like a big supper. We host probably one of the biggest suppers I've ever organized, and we get over 200 people for our supper. So this year we haven't gotten that part of our planning stage, but it covers everything. So if they collect $100, we're going to waive that rider's fee.
And for anybody who maybe wants to register for this ride or find some more information, where can they do so?
They can follow our Facebook page at Bell River Ride for Stars, or facebook.com/BRRFS, and they can follow everything along there.
And is there anything else that you want to add about this event?
Oh, it's a great family event. Like, it's not just people want to like get your friends together. Don't just come by yourself. If you do, try and get your friends together. Come on this group. Plan ahead. The camping is available. It's for groups. We charge $20 a unit, and which was requested by the landowners, and they will donate that to Stars also, in memory of Cheryl Weird.
All right, Henry. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you today, and I'm so happy that I was able to help you get the word out about this year's ride.
And now it's time for us to check in with Shelby Clark for a look at weather.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jace Mackey, for that introduction. Yes, now taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city. Sitting at -15, we aren't starting this week off too nice out, I would say. We have been seeing a lot more sun peeking behind those clouds, so that was nice. You know, it helps warm things up, and not only that, but it's just nice to get those sunny skies every once in a while in the winter season. So, you know, it does still look beautiful out there, but with that wind chill, we are feeling closer to that -30 mark as we start off this new week. So hopefully everybody is still enjoying their day with the sunny skies, but also layering up and trying to stay warm out there because it is quite cool for today. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots kind of matching with us here in the border city. Most are around -13 to -15 degrees over on this end. -12 up in Cold Lake, while it's -11 up in Lac La Biche. So those are probably the warmest conditions compared to the rest. But we all are seeing those double digits, and at least the coolest we are just seeing is around -15. So can't really complain. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are kind of matching with us with those temperatures, most around -13 to -14 degrees over on our Saskatchewan side. We go a bit lower and we are seeing a couple that are, I would say, slightly cooler, but not by much, just by 1 degree. Maidstone and North Battleford both at -16. So nice to see that -16 is probably the coolest we are seeing on our Saskatchewan side. North Battleford will be going down to a low of -20, so not cooling down by too much for their evening low temperature. And of course, with that wind chill, they will be probably feeling a lot closer to around -25 to about -30 for their evening low. So definitely going to be seeing a cooler night temperature for tonight, as we saw compared to last week. Then for their daytime high for their Tuesday tomorrow, -11. So warming up slightly from what they are sitting at right now with that -16. So for tomorrow, they will be warming up just by a few degrees, but still seeing those double digits, and they won't be catching too much more sun peeking behind those clouds. A slightly gloomier day for tomorrow. Cold Lake will be going out to low of -16, so they won't be cooling down by too much for their evening low temperature, although they definitely will be catching some flurries later on through the evening around 1 to 3 centimeters. So please make sure you got your shovels ready if you're in Cold Lake, because you will be seeing those flurries. And then for their daytime high tomorrow, warming up for sure with -8, so seeing that single digit for their daytime high and a mixture of some sun and clouds. So looking at a beautiful Tuesday for Cold Lake indeed. And for us here in the Border City, unfortunately, we'll be going down to low of -18, so we won't be hitting that -20, but with that wind chill, we will be feeling around -25. But we also will be expecting some flurries later on through the evening, snow at times, and expecting around 4 centimeters. So for us here in the Border City, all the residents here, make sure you got your shovels ready. And like I said, don't put those away yet, not with how this winter season has been going. And then with our Tuesday, we will be looking at -11 for our daytime high and a mixture of some sun and clouds. So hopefully we will be seeing another sunny day for tomorrow, even though we will be catching those double digits once again. And now ending off with a look at one of your weather photo submissions. Thank you to everyone that's submitted so far. You can continue to do so. I will use them on my weather segments. Gorgeous sunset shot. Thank you so much. I absolutely love to see it. With nice pink colors in the sky. Very gorgeous. And that's all I have for now, with more coming up after the break.
The Lakeland Rustlers men's basketball team finished up their season this past weekend with the championships at Ambrose University in Calgary. The Rustlers had the first game of the championships against St. Mary's University Lightning, and it was a tightly contested matchup, with Lakeland scoring an impressive 27 points in the second quarter. It came down to the final shot, but Lakeland was unable to tie it up late, ultimately losing in the first round 84-87. However, the Rustlers continued to play hard and were able to win their consolation games over Northwest Polytechnic and NAIT to end up as the 5th place team at the championship. And from basketball to curling, this past weekend, the ACAC Curling Championships took place in Vermilion, with Lakeland competing for the gold medal. Lakeland had to fight for their spot for gold, losing early in the weekend, pushing them down to the 3 and 4 matchup.
Journey started here with the 4 teams that qualified in the first 2 regionals. We came here, we ended up winning 3-0, so we played the 1-2 page game, and we lost to Red Deer. So we had to play last night in a 3-4 game to get ourselves back up into the 1-2 game.
After Saturday's winnings, that pit Lakeland versus NAIT for the gold medal game, with Lakeland sweeping the series 2-0. The coach couldn't be happier with the result and also is very thrilled that Lakeland was able to host the event this year.
It's great to host because we have a great curling club here. We have really good ice. We have good facilities in the community that really support us well. So it's nice for all these people from Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer, everywhere they come from, to come and see what we have too. So we move these around all the time. So it's good for everybody, and it's good for the student athletes to see something different.
So this win makes Lakeland the ACAC Curling Gold Medal champions for the past 2 years in a row. And we want to say congratulations to the Rustlers there. That's a great win. It's time now for us to check in with Shelby Clark, who has another look at weather.
again so much there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking another extended look at your weather forecast. We'll be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. Of course, we are definitely seeing those double-digit temperatures in most spots on our Alberta side. Most are seeing those mid-teens with around -14 to -15 degrees, so we have cooled down quite a bit starting off this new week. -12 up in Athabasca and Cold Lake, while it's -13 over in Edson, and Jasper is looking the warmest with that single digit at -8. But for the most part, all of us are kind of matching from what we are sitting at right now on our Alberta side. Going over to our Saskatchewan side, they are matching with us on our Alberta side, but some spots are looking slightly cooler. We are seeing those -13s, -15s. Some for North Battleford and Prince Albert still sitting around -16 degrees, and Melfort is even getting closer to that -20 mark with -18. But now as we go over to our northern zone, you think they would be hitting past those -20s just yet, but no, they are actually still in those teens. -19 for Stony Rapids and South End, while it's -18 there in Wollaston Lake. Most are just sitting around -17 degrees, and it is -16 over in Flin Flon. So Saskatchewan side isn't looking as cool as I thought it would be, definitely compared to our central zone. They're actually matching more with us in our central area. Going back over to our Alberta side now, they are looking slightly cooler compared to what we are seeing in our central area here in our northern zone. Slave Lake, Fort McMurray, and Peace River kind of seeing the warmest conditions there with -11 and -12. The rest are cooling down quite a bit, getting closer to that -20 mark. So definitely seeing it cool down a little bit in our northern zone. And as you go over to our southern one, Calgary, what a switch up. Looking at -16 now. So even some spots are looking slightly cooler in our southern zone on our Alberta side compared to our central area. -14 in Coronation, while it's -11 in Lethbridge, and we got Medicine Hat and Banff both matching at that single digit with -8. So definitely seeing a drastic change in these conditions from what we were seeing last week for sure. Looking at our Saskatchewan side in our southern zone, they are seeing those double digits, of course. -11 in Swift Current, while most are around -13 to -15 degrees. And then Yorkton is definitely looking cooler with -17. So for the most part, I would say that probably the coolest we have been seeing as we've been looking around is around -19, getting closer to that -20, although most spots are just seeing those mid-teens. So still can't really complain for what we are seeing right now for this year for our winter season. I think we are still getting quite spoiled. So no extreme cold warning just yet. Now looking at some overnight temperatures that we will be expecting as we head into our Tuesday. Some spots will be expecting a low of -18 with Meadow Lake and Paradise Hill. We will be seeing that low of -17 in Isla Crosse, and Bonnyville and Provost are expecting a low of -16. So that's without those wind chills. With that wind chill, we will probably be feeling closer to those -25s in our surrounding areas tonight for our evening lows. And of course, we even have summer with around an 80% chance of those flurries later on. So most will be expecting 2 centimeters with Bonnyville, Provost, and Paradise Hill. They are going to be seeing those flurries later on through the evening, while Meadow Lake and Isla Crosse will be seeing more of a calm evening and just seeing more cloudier conditions. Looking at our hourly forecast for here in the border city for tomorrow, we will be starting off slightly cooler with -16 to -17. Then our daytime high will warm up to around -12. So looking at not too bad of a temperature compared to today. And then as we go through tomorrow evening, we will be cooling it back down to around -14, -15. This is kind of the conditions we will be seeing as we go through the week. So just be prepared to layer up and make sure you are trying to stay warm out there. Looking at our 3-day forecast, as I was saying, we will be looking at another mixture of some sun and cloud tomorrow. Hopefully we will be seeing a lot more sun like we kind of saw today. Made it nice and pretty outside at least with those cool conditions. Then Wednesday, be prepared. We will be catching some flurries later on. So we will be seeing that sun kind of go away on Wednesday and seeing some more gloomier conditions. And then Thursday, that sun will make its way back, although we will be still sitting at -11. That's all I have for now. Our Jace Mackey will have our news coming up for you after the break.
So I'm here with Cindy from the City of Lloydminster about the spring programs coming up. Cindy, can you give us a little bit more of what programs you guys offer?
Absolutely. We have programs for all ages. We're excited about our spring lineup. We have programs at our museum, our Lloydminster Museum Archives. We've got kids preschool programs. We've got programs for youth. We have a youth art club, and then we have our adult classes. Some of them are typical classes that we have every season, like photography and stained glass. But we also have some new and exciting programs that are coming. So all our programs can be viewed at lloydminster.ca/guides. So those are at the museum. And then we also have some other programs happening at the Service Sports Center and as well at the Bud Miller All Seasons Park and the BioClean Aquatic Center. So we've got our typical swimming lessons, we got Friday fun camps, we got messy arts and sciences, we have kids night out camps at the Service Sports Center on Friday nights. So those are all exciting. And then we also have our typical fitness classes that happen, they're drop-in fitness classes that happen at the Service Sports Center Fitness Center. And then of course, our swimming lessons at the or at the BioClean Aquatic Center are always really popular as well.
And how long would these programs usually last for?
Some of the classes, depending on the class, are 1 to 2 classes. Some of them last longer. We have little skater programs that last for 6-7 weeks. Same with the swimming lesson. So depends what you're looking for. There's just those one-day classes, or like I say, longer classes that span over a couple weeks.
And for programs that require a registration in advance, how can people register for these programs?
Absolutely. You can come into any one of our facilities and we can help you at one of our desks. Or if you prefer, you can go online to lloydminster.ca/register, and you can find all our programs. All the programs that we offer are on there, one-stop shopping. You can see what other facilities are offering, and you can register yourself at that link. And you can phone in too. You can phone any of our facilities too, and we can help you over the phone.
And can you tell us where some of these programs will possibly even take place?
Absolutely. Our programs happen at all our facilities. So we have programs at the Lloydminster Museum Archives, Service Sports Center, BioClean Aquatic Center, and Bud Miller All Seasons Park.
And will there be programs that don't require a registration, such as a drop-in on short notice?
Yes, our fitness classes are drop-in. We are also offering an event over the Easter holiday. It's an annual event. It's dip dyeing, Easter eggs, and Pisanki. So you can pre-register for that. I would recommend pre-registering, but you can also drop in and do a drop-in if room allows. But if you want to save your spot, I would definitely pre-register. We also have an Easter egg hunt going around the city during the week of Easter. So you do not need to pre-register for that. You just need to download the clues. We'll be up closer to Easter, and you can download the clues, and it's a citywide Easter egg hunt, and there's prizes involved in that. So that's exciting. We also have a lot of spring events coming up. We'll have our Downtown Street Fest happening in June. And at the end of spring, early summer, we have our Canada Day celebration, of course, on July 1st. So lots of things to do.
And where can more information on these activities be found, possibly?
Absolutely. So it's all found in our guide, and that's lloydminster.ca/guides. You can find it online. And then in your local newspaper, the guide was mailed out to all households. So you should be able to pull it out of there as well.
And is there anything else that you'd possibly like to bring up that I've missed?
Absolutely. Our summer fun program is actually, we're open for registrations right now for our summer fun program. It's a 7-week program, and you can register through the guide, or the information is in the guide, and it's also at lloydminster.ca/register. The information is there, but our registration is open for summer fun as well. So that happens during the summer months.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Great. Thank you so much.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is Kaylee Boisvert, an author and financial advisor. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kaylee.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, no problem, because you have two books being released for 2023. So let's start off, with the most simple question. Can you kind of explain what these two books are?
Absolutely. Yes. So I have a book coming out, which is a nonfiction book for women about money. And so I called the book Make Money Your Thing. And the reason I called it that is because what I was seeing time and time again was women saying things like, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not great at math. I'm not, money just isn't my thing. Well, guess what? You can make it your thing. And I think that's the biggest sort of key or the missing piece when it comes to women and their finances is this lack of confidence. And it all starts with, these messages that we're saying to ourselves, and society, I think, is saying it to us as well. So by us just saying, like, taking our power back and saying money is my thing and money can be my thing. It doesn't matter what stage of life you're in or where you're at with your finances or on that journey. No matter what, you can make it your thing, and it doesn't have to be hard. It can actually be really easy to do. So that's the novel that I wrote that's coming out. So specifically for women about money and really empowering women with their finances. And then the other book is a kid's picture book about a little girl learning about money. So when we think about oftentimes too, when people say, biggest regret when it comes to their money or finances is often like, I wish I would have started sooner. So I'm like, well, how soon can we start? Let's start really soon. Let's start with kids, little, like our children. Let's have these conversations about money and saving. And I specifically made the story based on, a little girl and her journey, because I want little girls to feel really comfortable in that space of that they can have big money goals and dreams. I think, that unfortunately that financial sphere and the money side of things has been historically very male dominated, and that as a result of that, we grow up as women thinking maybe like we don't belong there or we don't know as much or something like that. So I want it just to be for little girls, like just as easily that they can just say, yeah, I can learn about money too, and I can have these big money goals. So that's the kids' book. It's called Money Wise Mabel's Bursting Bank, and it's about a little girl who she fills up her piggy bank, and then she learns that you don't need that instant gratification necessarily, and that she can save up for something bigger. So she goes on that journey of learning that with her mom.
Well, I'm all for woman empowerment. I think this is an excellent idea. It sounds like you have the best of both worlds with children's book and a novel. So I think this is really great. And in the process of writing these and just having that inspiration, how's that support been around you?
It's been tough. Like, I think the imposter syndrome that we talk about, which I believe exists in the money realm of things for women, um, sort of crept in for me with the writing. And from an early age, I always wanted to write a book, or I just remember being like 13 and being in a bookstore and thinking to myself, like, I want to have a book, like a book on the shelves here, and have just some random stranger buy my book. Like, to me, that was like, whoa, that would be amazing. Someone other than my mom buying it. And so that was always really important to me. And I love books and I read books all the time. So like when we let those limitations go, anyone can write a book, right? And that's what's holding so many people back. Like when I tell people that I've written these books, and oftentimes the response I get from people is like, that's amazing. I've always wanted to write a book. And it's like, well, do it. You can do it, right? We can all do it. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, that sounds like a big obstacle, but it sounds like you overcame it. So that's definitely an inspiration for others out there that are wanting to write something and they just don't know if they have, the skills to do it. Sometimes you just got to believe in yourself. So that's really nice. Now, for people that are wanting to check out some more information on these two the novel and the child's book that's coming up here, where can they go online just to be able to find some more information on that and on you, of course?
Yeah. So on my website, which is just kayleeboisvert.com, my name's spelled a little bit weird. So it's Kalee and then last name BOISVERT.com. That's my website. And then I do have links on there to my book, so you can kind of stay updated with the release dates. And the kids' book already is up for pre-orders now. So just waiting on the nonfiction one.
Awesome. Well, it was really nice speaking with you today,
Thank
Caitlin.
you.
Thank you so much for giving us your time. I think this is really awesome to hear about these two books that are coming up here, and for people out there that need that inspiration, especially the women here in the border cities. So thank you
Yes.
for joining us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shelby.
Ending off with a quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be seeing those double digits continue on through the week. Another mixture of some sun and cloud tomorrow, but then getting some gloomier days for Wednesday and a high chance of those flurries, so be prepared. And then as we head into the weekend, we will be warming up to those single digits with -7 Friday, looking at those -4s and -5s, so be prepared. We will be seeing another switch up as we head into next week.
All right, thank you so much for that, Shelby. It's like a yo-yo, up and down with this weather, but something to look forward to at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much for starting your week with us here on Primetime Local News. Have a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.